So introduction to the course is very much important. What this history of English literature basically is. Okay, so this is a brief sketch of the course, history of English literature. The core objective of this course is to make students aware of the historical development of English literature, with its social, political, cultural and economical background and its impact on literature through different eras. So my dear students, basically we'll be talking about history of English literature in relation to different eras. Then we'll do a comparative study side by side of different periods or eras in the history of English literature. So my dear students, what you have to keep in mind over here from this slide is this is historical development along with social, political, cultural and economical backgrounds. Okay, so this is basically historical development. So my dear students, this is not just to tell you the chronological history of English literature, like in this year that happened, or any kind of event, how far that is important as far as its age is concerned. Our focus would be on the development or the growth of English literature with the passage of time and the certain changes which took place in different centuries. So my dear students, you don't need to get worried about remembering different dates, too many dates, like because English literature is comprised of too many centuries, so you don't need to get worried about it. Basically the concept must be clear to you. My dear students, one more thing which is very much important as far as history of English literature is concerned, you'll have to take it like a story. Okay, usually people think that history just talk about dates, about years and the important events over there. Basically we'll talk about those events as well, but what is the impact of all those events in the development of English literature. Okay, so this is basically the core or main or the primary objective of this course, to know about the historical development of English literature along with the other factors which are involved in the creation of literature, in the development of literature. Okay, another objective of this course is to inform students about how English literature has evolved historically and how socio-cultural and political events have influenced its development through ages. So my dear students, again the development and you could see the growth of English literature with the passage of time, the events which contributed in the creation of English literature, how the different happenings in the English society in different eras have influenced English literature. Okay, so this is another objective of this course. Although the scope of the course is quite expansive, starting from the age of Chaucer, the students shall focus on early 16th to late 19th century Romantic movement. So my dear students, here you can see, like, we'll take a start from the age of Chaucer. Okay, so and then we'll gradually move towards 19th century literature, 16th century literature as well. Okay, so basically this is English literature has a very, very expansive history. Okay, and that is comprised of too many centuries. Okay, histories of literature written by some British literary historians will be consulted to form some socio-cultural and political cross connections. So my dear students, here will refer to different histories which are written by British literary historians when they talked about history of English literature. Okay, the present course covers a reference to the multiple factors from economic theories to religious, philosophical and metaphysical debate that overlap these literary works of diverse nature and time period under multiple contexts. So my dear students, again the same thing is being repeated over here. What basically the point is, this course will cover a reference to the multiple factors. So my dear students, the factors, the other factors or the elements which are involved in the creation of literature plus its development. Okay, so we'll talk about everything in detail. Okay, the reading of literature within its socio-cultural context will help the readers become aware of the fact that literary works are basically a referential product of the practice that go back to continuous interdisciplinary interaction. So my dear students, this study of history of literature is not only one discipline. We'll talk about history of English literature and we'll mix too many other disciplines with it. Okay, so my dear student, that is why we'll have a look on it from interdisciplinary perspective. Okay, when we talk about psychology, we'll talk about sociology, we'll talk about culture, we'll talk about politics of all the eras as well. So that is why we'll have an interdisciplinary approach towards studying literature in this class. Okay, so my dear students, you would be thinking like what is basically the benefit of teaching you English literature or the history of English literature. So let me discuss some of the advantages of teaching literature, okay, and then we'll go for history of English literature as well. Okay, literature can be very enjoyable to read. So dear students, like literature touches your senses. Okay, so basically this is the depiction of the society, depiction of nature, that's all about imagination. So that is very much enjoyable to read. So this is you can say the basic purpose of teaching literature or of studying literature. Like you use it for pleasure purposes in order to read out a story or in order to go for understanding the styles of different authors. Okay, so basically that's for pleasure purposes, that is for the sake of enjoyment. Okay, the other one is it provides examples of different styles of writing, mirrors various authentic uses of the language. So dear students, here you can say, like as I told you, in order to know about the different styles of writing, okay, and in order to go for using the authentic use of language. What basically is the authentic use of language or authentic language? The language which is used by the native speakers of any country. Okay, so dear students, like as you know, English is the native or the mother tongue of the English people, definitely. So definitely when you read about their literature, when you study literature, so definitely you will have to go for authentic material. You can utilize that material later on in your classes as well. So dear students, here basically you can have an exposure to the authentic language or the first-hand language. So this is basically the first-hand experience of language. Okay, so here our focus is on different styles plus on authentic use of language. That's the first-hand experience of language. Okay, so anything which is in front of you, like for example a book that is in front of you, so my dear students, you can read that book. So definitely basically you are not listening to those people, but that is recorded in form of book. So you can have a look on you can say the mother tongue. Okay, like people who are using English as a mother tongue. Okay, it is a good basis for vocabulary expansion. So dear students, reading basically provides the basis for, you can say, your writing. Okay, so dear students, if you are good in reading, if you are habitual of reading the things, so with the passage of time it would definitely enhance your vocabulary. And then when it comes to writing, so definitely you won't be facing that problem of you can say lack of vocabulary, or when you think that you do not have sufficient words to express your thoughts in a good way. So literature is very much helpful as far as your vocabulary expansion is concerned. Okay, it fosters reading skills. So definitely when you talk about language skills, so reading is a receptive skill. So dear students, it would definitely polish your reading skill as well. Definitely you are you can say involved in that reading, so you can say you'll be able to know about reading techniques like skimming, scanning, making inferences, or you can say making your judgment on the text. Okay, so you'll be able to adopt everything like the writing style of the writer later on in your writings as well. Okay, so definitely you can polish your reading plus writing skills by reading literature. Okay, it can supply an excellent jump off point for discussion or writing. So definitely you when you are reading something, so it becomes part of your experience that is stored in your background memory. So dear students, with the passage of time, when you face any kind of problem, or when you are discussing something with anybody, so dear students, definitely you'll be having more points, okay? So you have more vocabulary items, you have many ideas to discuss, and you